So in this video series, we are going to look about conditional statements which are available in Python, and what are the repetitional statements which are available in Python, and how can you make your looping statement effective, and and what is all about breaking, continue, pass, and what are these statements doing all about in looping and conditional checkings. Here the next question is, what are the conditional statements available in Python? So it includes four different types of conditional statements: if statement, if else statement, elif later means else if later, okay, and nested if statements. Okay, let me start with if statement. And if statement deals with only one condition. If the condition is true, the indented block next to the if statement has been executed, or else the next line will be executed as in the sequence linear order. And if else statement means there is a condition, and if the condition is true, the block next to if will be executed, or else the false part is also, you write the false part also, whatever the conditions that whatever the statements that has to be executed whenever the condition fails, so you are notifying that also. That will be as written as an indented block under else part. So if part has the true section and else part has the false section, which is common, quite common in all the programming languages you might be coming across as of now. And there is no difference here also, the same thing is followed. And elif order is else if, too many else and too many if. So here nested if and elif later. So what is the difference between these two things? It is quite natural that we are going to deal with more than one conditions. So one is multiple conditions, one is multi-level conditions. So nested if statement means, for example, if I wanted to declare a person is secure distinction or not. So here, if the person has to be declared as a distinction, let us consider he has to get no backlogs, no history of arrears. He has to get 7.5 CGPA over 7.5 CGPA or 75% across all the subjects. So these are the conditions. These are three conditions that has to be fulfilled by the one person. So here comes the nested if. One condition is true, okay, next condition we go. Then we go with the next condition. If the person satisfied all the three conditions, then you go with nested if. But else if a later is that simply that you want to find which is the greatest of three numbers or five numbers, you go with three numbers. So here, if A has to be greater than B and C, it has to go on with two conditions. A must be greater than B and B must be greater than C. So which means it is automatically A is greater than B and C. So here we are checking the same input for more than one condition, which is different conditions. Okay, so this is the difference between elif ladder and nested if statements. And next important part of any programming language is loops, repetition statements. So what do you mean by loop? Loop is a block of statements we wanted to repeat for n number of times until a condition gets failed, or until a condition get holds. We wanted to do a task repetitive again and again. For example, you wanted to get marks of a student. Maybe if the student is written 5 subjects per semester, so you need to get 5 marks. So if you write an input statement inside a loop that works 5 times, so that is called doing the same process again and again for a quite possible finite number of times until the condition holds. And this is called loop, and this can be implemented in two types in Python: one by using for loop and one by using while loop. Okay, so it is almost similar, analogous to all the for loops and all the while loops you have came across all C and C++ Java as of now. But one difference we can take on with loop is that there is in for loop there is no need to declare I, and we can use a function called range function that takes the number from the minimum number. It starts with the starting number and goes to the upper bound. From lower bound to upper bound, it works on by itself, so it generates the iterators by itself. So this is something very writing a for loop is very simpler in case of Python while comparing with C or other languages. And the rest of the thing is the same. While going with while loop, we are going to check whether the condition is true. Until the condition is true, the body of the while loop is getting executed. So once the condition is getting failed, it will go to the next line. So that is the difference between for loop and while loop. So this is one of the important question your interviewer might ask in terms of loops and conditions. See, what is more important to design a better loop is that the termination condition where your loop wanted to terminate. So that is very, very important. If we fail to design a better termination condition, the loops will go for infinite and it drains all the RAM, and ultimately your systems will get hot. So break and continue is one such very important statements that can grip your loop. So in Python, break and continue statements can alter the flow of a normal loop, and loop iterate over a block of code until the test expression, that is the condition, the condition we check before we enter into the loop, getting false. But sometimes we may like to terminate the current iteration or even the whole loop without checking the test expression, which means I wanted to terminate the iteration inside the loop. So for example, the user gives user gives three inputs, a, b and c. Okay, a 1 2 and 3, let's say 1 2 and 3. If the user presses 3, okay, gives the input as 3, the loop has to be executed. So in this case, the condition is not going to check. We need to break the loop inside the loop. So in those cases, break and continue will be used. So here we are going to illustrate how break statement is really working behind. So break statement actually terminates the loop from inside. You just straight away go to the code. Actually, we are designing a for loop, and inside a for loop we are writing a condition. We are checking a condition whether the condition is true, holds or not. Okay, for example, I design a loop like for I in range 0 to 100. So it works 100 times. It works 100 times. I starts from 0 and goes to 99, not to 100. Okay, so 0 to 99, so 100 times the loop is going to execute. And inside the loop, I'm coming inside the loop now. There is a condition. The condition, let's take the condition if I equal to 95. So even though my loop can able to rotate 100 times, I stop by 96th time by checking it 95. When the I becomes 95, I need to break it. Okay, I need to break it. So once the break statement is executed, the condition, the control flow never goes back to check the for loop, to continue the for loop. Instead, it comes out of the loop and goes to the next statement that you can clearly see in the picture. Okay, so break statement actually breaks the loop, and it comes out, and it lets the control flow flows out of the loop, and it goes to the next statement, in fact. And you reach the final part of the video, and this part is very tricky, so watch out carefully. So break and continue, both of the things, both the statements does the same, almost same job. Break actually breaks the entire loop, and the control flow from inside the loop oozes out into the next statement. Okay, it never goes back and tries to continue the loop. This is the summary of break statement. Here you just look at the continue statement. Don't fall by the word continue. Actually, the continue refers to the same situation you take. We are designing a for loop that goes from 0 to 99, so 100 times, and I'm inside the loop. I'm having a condition that checks whether I is equal to 95, which means whether it is the 96th iteration. If it is the 96th iteration, I don't want to do anything. Okay, I don't want to execute the intended block which is next, which is inside the loop. Okay, so instead of that, I just want to skip the rest of the loop and to continue the loop. Okay, no, now from the 95 the value is getting increased to 96. Okay, now I'm coming inside the loop and check whether I is equal to 95. No, now not I is not equal to 95, it is 96. So it ignores the condition and continues the loop as such. Okay, so break statement breaks the complete iteration and goes out, but the continue statements it skips only the particular iteration and continue the loop. So this is the difference between break and continue.